Hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club weekly catch-up on Zoom. It's a Sunday, the 19th of June 2022, and as always, don't really know what we're going to talk about. Sometimes we talk about cryptocurrency, blockchain, DeFi, NFT, DLT, ICO, STO, lots and lots of other letters in this kind of domain. We end up talking about whatever people want to talk about. So if you're a novice, do come and join us, come and listen in, come and ask questions. Simpler the better. They're usually the really interesting ones to help each other to understand more about crypto. Or if you're running a project or you're involved in a crypto team in some way, come on and tell us more about it. They're always open to learn about new projects that are going on. And again, it's a great way of sharing with the community. Anyway, with that, let's see who's going to come and join us today. Hey, Alina.
Hello, Gary.
Hey, good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you too. I expected a full room of people.
Yeah, it's quiet again. We get some weeks where we get lots of people coming along, and then other weeks where it's just a couple. But sometimes yeah, that's right. But sometimes it's actually the smaller groups that are more interesting because people are more open and willing to discuss things, and you always end up asking lots of interesting things. And in fact, someone actually suggested, I think a few weeks ago, that you and I should do a special podcast together, just going through some of the basics, because you ask some really interesting questions, which are really useful for everybody else as well. So that's great.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, we should maybe try that sometime. So
I've never done any podcasts before.
Well, you're kind of doing one right now in a way. It's a video podcast, so that's great. Yeah. So how are you finding your foray into crypto? You were saying the other week that you've actually got a crypto account now. Is that right?
Yes, finally. Very captivating.
And now are you at the point? And now are you at the point where you're going, "Wow, I've got a crypto account. What do I actually do?"
Yeah. Yes, I'm at the stage of checking the account and getting a little surprise every time that the amount is lower and lower every time. And I'm very curious, how low will it reach before it's getting creeping up?
Yep, that's right. And as much as it might feel painful for you at the moment to see whatever amount you've gone in dropping and dropping, think of it as the price of a little bit of education that you're learning right now, because it gets you more interested. So it probably means you're logging in more often to see what's going on. And you're probably logging in lots and lots, in fact, in the hope it's recovering, and it isn't for now. But it will help to teach you eventually to not keep looking at it all the time, because eventually you'll go, I'm just not going to look at it anymore, because you get this kind of addiction thing for a while. I don't know if you get an adrenaline hit or a dopamine hit when you log onto your account, but you always think, oh, what's it up to now? What's it down to now? So you will eventually learn to not keep checking it all the time. You will begin to learn about what some of the other features are. So, oh, I could buy this, or I could do this, or I could trade in this way. So that's good. That's about learning. The most important thing is that you're learning a wonderful lesson right now, which is that crypto does go down in price. And that's something that I know some people who, when they came in originally, and all that happened was it kept going up and up and up and up. And suddenly they thought they were rock star crypto experts. And so they thought, oh, well, the only way is up. It keeps going up. I'll put more money in. Oh, it's gone up even more. I'll put more money up. Great. And they go on and they go on. And then all of a sudden it falls off a cliff edge. And they go, what happened there? I've been wiped out. Crypto's never done that before. Crypto does that all the time. So at least at the moment, hopefully you've not put your life savings in and your home, your family and everything.
No, you only said to put as much as someone is prepared to lose. So everything's fine.
Yeah, that's really good. That's great. The nice thing about that as well is that it means that you don't get too emotional about it. because
No.
you're not suddenly thinking, well, where am I getting the mortgage payment from, or whatever. So you can stand back, and it's a useful way of learning. But the great thing is, at least now, I presume you've got a crypto wallet attached to the exchange, have you? You got some, yep. So at least now you can log in, you can connect and everything. Now you're going to start thinking about things like, oh, could it be that I could buy a different cryptocurrency, or I can start watching what other cryptos are doing compared to whatever you've got an interest in. So it's great. You're now on that journey, and
yes,
you are also now more advanced than about 63 million people in the UK.
Oh.
So
such a small and easy step.
Yeah.
And now I'm more advanced than 63 million people in the UK.
That's right. So you're in the top 5%, and you're based in Ireland at the moment.
I'm in Ireland. Yes.
So similar there, probably maybe 5% of the people have got crypto. There's a really good crypto group that's based in Ireland, actually. I'll share the details with you separately if you want. But
yes, please. Yeah, I would love to.
So they do a similar kind of thing to this on a Thursday, but they get more people who come along who are actively trading. And a number of them actually met up because it was blockchain week last week in Ireland. So they met up in Dublin, I think it was. But yeah, I'll share the details with you. Great group. They meet every week and they talk about the market and what to watch out for and how things are going up, down, sideways and everything. And the thing I love about this whole crypto space is everyone is happy to share and learn with each other. So it's a great way of developing knowledge, and that's good. Okay,
that's good.
Excellent. So any lessons so far, or anything you're discovering or that you don't understand or anything?
The thing that's interesting at the moment, what do you think is happening with cryptocurrencies in general?
Yeah.
What correlation do you think it has with the world situation?
So I think that's the easy one to answer. In that I think there is no correlation whatsoever. I think people people will say things like, "Oh, crypto is going down because of," and then they'll list off various things. So it's because of Russia versus Ukraine. It's because of China versus Taiwan. It's because there's a heat spot somewhere on the planet or something. There's never really been any evidence of any genuine absolute correlation, or certainly not causation of an event happening in the world and crypto prices. Yeah. So there's correlation. You can draw a graph of GDP, so general economics, and you can see that that's going down and crypto's going down. Beyond that, there's no real connection between the two. So I think the crypto market at the moment is still very small. I think it's about $800 billion worth of market cap, which is, what's that? That's about 1/3 of the size of Apple computers. So you think about Apple computers, big American company, been going for about, I think it's 43 years now. If you look at the total value of all the shares, I think that's worth about $2.2 trillion right now. So that is one company in America.
Yeah, just one company, and talk about
which is 3 times larger than the entire cryptocurrency community. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, everything. So crypto is still quite small, and it's still quite growing. So that's the easy thing. I don't think there is any correlation between the real world and that kind of thing. In terms of where it's at and what it's doing, I find it's really interesting. I think everyone's looking at the wrong numbers. I think everyone's looking at crypto prices, and what they should be looking at is crypto transactions. So I think that the price of the tokens, the price of the cryptocurrencies is going down, but I think more and more transactions are taking place on the blockchains at the moment, which is a good thing longer term. So that's my kind of thing on that. So we'll see where that goes anyway. So yeah, so I was on a call with some people the other day, and I said, look, stop just concentrating on the prices. Obviously, price is important. If you bought something, then you like to know it's going up in price, and a lot of it isn't at the moment. But actually, what's equally as important is the increased adoption of it. The fact that more people are getting wallets, the fact that more people are getting interested in it, the fact that pretty much all of the banks have now got some sort of exposure to crypto. I think it's really, really good. So I think it's a positive. Thanks for coming along today. Where are you based, Rachel?
I'm based in London.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, fairly local then. That's good.
Yeah. Found this on the London Telegram group.
Of which there are probably many. I
run many.
Yeah. I run several Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups and that. And it's always funny when people say, oh yeah, I'm in your WhatsApp group or I'm in your Telegram group. It's like, which one would that be? So anyway, great of you to come and join us today. So what's your interest or not knowledge level, Rachel?
Yeah, so I mean, my knowledge level of everything that's gone on this week, probably like a little tricky. But actually, no, I have my own like DeFi protocol, which is based around like using gamification to encourage people to kind of like save and make regular deposits. It's got a rather silly name called Good Ghosting, and we're on Cello and Polygon. So yeah, I guess my knowledge level is kind of reasonable, but it's there's always a lot going on, right?
So straight away, the very fact that you said DeFi and a gaming protocol and that kind of thing actually makes you quite advanced compared to some people. That's good. So is that a project that it's your own project, your own company then? Oh.
Yes, yeah. So well, me and some of my co-founders been running this. We had our first birthday of us being live on chain last week. So we've been, building on this for like almost 2 years in total, but like a year and a half full time.
Okay, fantastic. That's great to hear. And how's it working out at the moment? Are you getting adoption?
It's actually going pretty well for us because, we've been doing a lot of stuff with stable tokens and like not UST. So that was also good that we weren't involved in that. But no, we've been getting good user traction last week. I think we hit the 8th most used for like daily users on Polygon, which was awesome. So yeah, like even everything that's going on in the market, like because because of the way we're kind of we've built, it's actually quite positive for us. But I mean, obviously, like it's not a great situation for the whole industry. What's going on at the moment, but yeah, we're doing good.
Cool. Okay. Well, what I'll do in a minute then, I might ask you to tell us all a little bit more. Rachel, tell us more about it then. Tell us about your DeFi protocol. What's it called? How do people find out about it?
Yeah, so it's called Good Ghosting. So like everyone knows about bad ghosting, so we're like good ghosting. So yeah, we're on Polygon and we're on Cello. We basically build like a gamified layer on top of other DeFi protocols that are on those chains. So we work at the moment with Aave and Moolah on Cello, and we have like saving pools. You join them. Basically, the incentive there is we want to help people kind of make regular deposits into those pools so that they can build up, their own personal wealth. So we've got like a number of different layers of gamification that kind of give you that incentive to do that. So first of all, we only split like the interest that's generated by the saving pool that would be coming from your Aave, for example. You only get that if you make all of the required deposits in the pool. So like maybe like we launched one on Friday that it takes you need to put a deposit of like 25 DAI or 25 CUSD every 2 weeks, and that goes for 6 weeks in total. As long as you make those deposits, you basically won. You get the interest. We're very lucky to have some incentives from both Polygon and Cello, so we also give that to the winners as well. And we are also building out our own kind of XP point system, so it's sort of like a credit native, almost like a credit native like way to prove your credit worthiness, so how much you've deposited. And we also give out NFTs and other bits and pieces. So we've got a pretty awesome community. I can actually share some links to it. Like everything's kind of happening on Discord, which is a great place to join. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. It's sort of like gamified, growing your wealth in a kind of gamified way on Celo and Polygon.
And that seems to be a growing area. I know that one of the guys who sometimes joins us is from Noah, and Noah are doing some sort of incentivized type things as well, where they're doing it's kind of like a DeFi thing with yield farming. But they're interested because you were saying that with your project, people have to lock in for 6 weeks. Was that right? Did I understand that correctly?
You can actually take it out. Like, you're always free to take it out, and it's like fully, like, it's all managed by smart contracts, so we never hold it ourselves. We put it like, so each pool, there's normally like we normally deploy the pool with like a small early withdrawal fee just to incentivize people to stay in, but it's like between like 1 to like 2% normally, and it's split amongst everyone in the pool. So like, but you can always take out, like, the idea is if you wait to the end, you'll always get like the underlying assets that you put in. So you wouldn't, it's no loss in that sense. And we don't lock, it's not a hard lockup. It just might be a small like fee for early withdrawal.
Okay, yeah. That sounds definitely the better way, because I know somewhere you kind of like have penalty clauses for exiting early and that kind of thing. Whereas it sounds like you're kind of pro-ratering it. Is that right?
So basically, yeah, like, so I mean, we can at the moment we're putting in like I think the last one we did, it was like an early withdrawal fee of like 1%. So you lose like 1% of your assets that you put in. But if you wait right to the end, then you'll just get the like the whole value of it. So we don't lock it up, and it's like, it's not like you'd have to wait to get it out. You can take it out, but we just put that small fee just to incentivize people to kind of stay in. Sometimes we do pools without it. It's like, it's strictly optional when we deploy our pools, but it just helps people kind of give that goal for them, really.
Okay, and just tell me, you said the website, was it Good Ghost?
It's goodghosting.com.
Have I got that right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So best way to grow your savings. Cool. Okay. So there's and I shout out for Good Ghosting for anyone who's watching this afterwards. And I do actually find a lot of people actually watch the videos, the recordings of these. And I get people who come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, I watched the recording," and I never get to actually join you, but I come and watch afterwards. So that's great. So excellent. That's really good. And I like the way you've got like leaderboards and that. So you kind of like doing a competition type thing. Is that right, between people?
Yeah, so basically, like, each time you complete like a saving pool or like a saving challenge, you get points associated to that. So we can see here, like, you know, we've had like a lot of people we've had some community members who've been with us since like day one, almost like a year, and they're really getting like quite high points. So yeah, that's a GG score. And we also launched, like, we're calling it the summer tournament. So basically it's a series of 6 like saving pools, which I think if you scroll up, there's actually a link to it in the navigation bar. You see where it says tournament. Basically the idea is if you complete each pool, you get rewards for completing it by itself, but if you complete all of them, you get like more like rewards as you complete all of them. So it's kind of like a season structure essentially, and it's got this concept of like a pool pass. It's like a holiday theme. So we've got, I think on Friday it was our Ibiza pool that launched, so we've got some like, you know, kind of nice beachy names there, and there's like different rewards from ourselves, but also from our partners there, with like Celo, Polygon, Fly Wallet, AriSwap, Chief Finance, just to kind of help people kind of make a sort of a longer term commitment over summer. So it's just a fun way to kind of save essentially.
Okay.
And yeah, we're launching a Rio pool tomorrow, so we've got lots going on.
My word. Okay. So what's the kind of user base in terms of size?
So we have, I think we have about 7,000 weekly users on DApp Radar from addresses. Okay. So yeah, you can check us out on there. Yeah, it varies like day by day. It depends, like, you know, we have certain pools that deploy certain different times, but yeah, it's around that figure. So we're getting pretty good traction at the moment, and because we're doing like a lot of stuff with stable tokens, it's still quite compelling for our users as well to kind of get those returns with this market at the moment. Okay,
and I guess that this is the lovely thing about with many of these crypto initiatives being on the blockchain, the very fact you can go to things like DApp Radar and you can actually look at the contracts and the actual activities, and that gives you a lot more visibility as well and transparency, which is great.
Yeah. Everything's open source, of course, and like we're audited and stuff. Like I think there's links to all of that in our documentation. And we're on DApp Radar, we're on DeFi Llama as well for like kind of total value locked and kind of address usage as well.
Okay, that's good. Well, excellent. Well, hopefully a nice shout out for you on that.
Thank you.
It's really good.
Thank you for letting me do the pitch.
Well, this is the thing that this is always open to those who are either looking to learn or want to share something. I had someone on last week who was talking about one of his projects, really interesting stuff. This is the whole idea, as I was saying to Alina, who's on the call as well. It's all about learning, sharing, building the community, this kind of thing. I love about the crypto space. I guess the thing, Alina, coming back to you then, I was asking before any kind of questions or anything that you're learning. You were saying, first of all, about the correlation between the crypto market prices and real world events.
Situation.
Yeah, which, as I said before, I don't think there's a provable link between the two. In fact, I keep thinking all of these icons of crypto tokens, cryptocurrencies, I should change them all to be butterflies in the Amazon. Because the theory of randomness, which is that, a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon, and that causes this chain reaction of events around the world. And I'm convinced that's how crypto works, that it's actually random events type thing. In terms of the other thing, I think you were talking about the overall market direction and this kind of thing. It's anyone's guess as to where it's going to end up. But it's always funny that as prices are going down, crypto experts become rarer and rarer. So you can always tell when the market's good because everyone's on YouTube boasting about how good their predictions are and that, So I think at the moment it's quite difficult to work out where it's going to bottom out. There are some people who are talking about Bitcoin dropping to about $8,000, and I think if I remember correctly, Bitcoin's on about 18,000 at the moment. In fact,
right now, has it ever been as low as $8,000?
Yeah, it's been like down to, well, it was originally like in terms of cents as opposed to dollars. So you think about it, yeah, well, when it first arrived, and so I got interested in crypto round about 2017-ish. And if we look back to what was going on then, it was about $1,000, I think, when I started getting interested in it. We look right the way back to back in 2017, and it was at $3,900. Then it exploded. It did what happened earlier on this year. It went right the way up to about $20,000. So that was in November and December of 2017. And it went from $20,000 and dropped right the way down over Christmas to about $8,000. So it dropped by 2/3 in price. So if you look at what's happened since then, and we look at the more recent stuff, again, it hit this other peak of $60-something thousand and has plummeted down to 18,000 at the moment, or 19,000. So it's still nearly at the point of what was previously a peak in 2017, 2018, which is why when people are talking about, crypto winter, Bitcoin's collapsed, everything like that, I'm saying, well, if you look at the price of crypto in June 2017, I think it was $3,900. So it means over 5 years, it's still worth 4 times more than it was. So it's grown, what's that, 300%? Remember doing the maths right, or 400%? So it's still better than any pension fund or saving scheme. This isn't investment advice, by the way. But even though it's had this massive collapse, it's still significantly higher than it was several years ago. So that's just something to be aware of, that crypto, if you get the right cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the ones that are rock solid, and just sit back and wait, then in all probability, they're going to go back up at some point. The problem is they just don't know, what is going to be the bottom. So at the moment, some people are talking about $11,000 for Bitcoin. Some are talking $8,000.
But basically, no one knows. What people are talking is their suggestions.
Exactly right. And some of them do some really clever analytics, where they might be looking at charting. So you can do things far more advanced. I tend to look at just general trends. So, at the moment, it's quite a substantial downward trend that's going on. But other people use things like Elliot Waves. Elliot Waves is a more complex way of looking at frequencies and distributions, prices and that. And Elliot Waves say, again, like the waves of an ocean, that you get kind of cycles and ebbs and troughs and that kind of thing. Some people use those as an indicator as to where prices are going to be. Some people use volume. Some people use all sorts of indicators. If we look at, can you see the Binance screen at the moment? Is that showing? See,
yes, it is.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of different indicators that you can use to pull up on this chart, and you can make it look really, really complex. And this is one of the simpler ones. But there's loads of things. Volume is just what amount is being traded. But you've got things like the various moving averages, the relative strength indexes. There's all sorts of things in stochastic comparisons, and different traders use different indicators. So you never really know what's going on. So all I tend to do is I just look at the overall trend. And at the moment, it's still in a downward trend and plummeting quite rapidly type thing. So where it's going to go, really don't know.
Either up or down.
All the same. This is the other thing. So a couple of weeks ago, if we have a look, this kind of area here, it was actually just tracking within a zone. It was neither going up nor down. It was operating within a range of, like, I think it was 30 to 32, or 30 to 35, I think it was. It was just operating within that zone. And it was neither going up nor down, but at some point it has a breakout, and that's where it suddenly goes up or it goes down. So yeah, as I always say to people, it's only going to do one of three things: up, down, or stay the same. And it's true with all of the cryptocurrencies as well. You do tend to find that what happens with Bitcoin tends to reflect what happens in the rest of the market. So the very fact that Bitcoin has got this steady downward trend with most of the other cryptocurrencies is probably going to be similar. And this is where it's important to start recognizing the difference between cryptocurrencies, which are things that are native to a blockchain, and crypto tokens, which are typically smart contracts on a blockchain. So as Rachel was mentioning a moment ago, that they've got things that are smart contracts that are actually running on a blockchain.
Yes.
So that's a crypto token, not a cryptocurrency. And they can sometimes behave differently because they may be doing things like offering incentive schemes. You'll be aware of NFTs. So NFTs are smart contracts on a number of blockchains that might represent ownership of a digital artwork or something like that. That's right. And so you might actually find that some of those markets are actually going up, and they're not aligned with Bitcoin. I can think. Rachel, I don't know if you bring you back in. What's your thinking about the markets at the moment in general?
Just before I dive into that, we don't actually have a token, so we just have smart contracts. But you're right, like a lot of the there's a lot of tokens associated with projects that aren't like the native currency of that blockchain. So like, for example, like the Aave token as opposed to like the ETH token or Matic token. Okay. The market at the moment, I mean, yeah, it's been going down quite sharply. Yeah, in the short term, it's probably not good. There's like quite a lot of like, I don't know, this like Three Arrows capital thing seems to be like quite extensive. But like, you know, I think maybe this can be like a good thing overall, because, you know, in the long term, hopefully we can see like, you know, the projects that have like a sound basis, like, you know, making it through this, because with every like bull run, you get a lot of rationality, and you get like a lot of I don't know, probably like more irresponsible behavior and everything. So I think even though it's like very painful, it's probably necessary. And then the projects that do survive this will be like, they will have had a really robust like test. So I think that's kind of one part. Yeah, I don't know, I think it would be good to find like sort of mechanisms like to go forward to make it a little bit less volatile for future cycles, because I think it's one thing when you are sort of crypto native person to take this level of volatility, but I think for us to make something that is going to be more mainstream, it's going to be a problem, you know. So I think I've been reading up on like bonding curves and stuff like this, and I know there's some interesting work going on there. So yeah, that will be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think, you know, probably like, I can't really say a time, but you know, these things kind of cyclical, aren't they, really?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's interesting you mentioned bonding curves. I remember reading about bonding curves. They seem to actually behave in exactly the opposite way of the way I thought they would do. And they are far more complex than I would have imagined. But I think the other thing as well, you write about the volatility, and I suspect that what is going to eventually reduce the volatility is going to be regulation, because I think regulation is going to put constraints in place. And I think regulation is going to come about because of probably 3 events that have happened in the last few weeks, which have really shaken things. The first being the USD, I was going to say USDC.
UST.
UST, sorry, yeah. So the stable token, the pegged token against US dollar. I'm trying to stop calling things stable coins and start calling them pegged tokens, because they're not really stable quite often, certainly when they fall off their peg. So UST and the whole thing around that, and Luna, the whole the battle around that, I think has caused a lot of pain for a lot of people and could lead to some regulation coming in. Then there was the thing with Celcius, I think last week. And I'm not even sure what went on with Celcius, but did they have some liquidity challenges or something, or they were recapitalizing or something? Again, there was a bit of a shockwave went through, I heard, on Celcius. And then there's this third one, you say, Three Arrows, which I don't know, do you know anything about the story about Three Arrows, Rachel?
I don't know into the details of it, but I know that they were they invest a lot, and they also have like a hedge fund. And I think they just over leveraged. So I think they were like leveraging positions, and I think is like, don't quote me on this, but I think this is what was also the problem with like Celcius. I'm hearing a lot of people saying it's actually like, I mean, obviously with the UST, that was an issue around like how they pegged that, like how they backed up that token. And my understanding is it's just backed up by the Luna token and not like a diversified like treasury, which would have been, you know, probably a bit more robust. But yeah, I think with the Celcius and Three Arrows, in a way, it's like these were like more kind of the issues that throw it up with the leveraging this, I think, was coming more from like a centralized point of view. So they're like kind of CeFi type of things, like they're centralized using cryptocurrency, but it wasn't a black box that happened then. But I mean, don't quote me on any of this, because I'm not as like, I'm still learning about everything that's gone on this week. But no, like I think with like, so 3 Arrows Capital, they hold a lot of tokens. Like my understanding is that they're going to probably have to sell a lot of tokens. So I think this is probably going to cause pain in the short term. And yeah, and then I guess it's like one of those things that can have like a knock-on effect onto like everything, really, you know. So yeah, it's been a little bit, I don't know, a little bit crazy this week. So for sure.
And I think the other thing as well is that whilst we're in a market where the prices are dropping, that means there's going to be more margin calls, more demand for collateralization. This is the thing that originally, when I first got into crypto, I love the fact that crypto is finally moving away from a debt-driven economy, because in theory, you can't go overdrawn with crypto. You know, if you look at a blockchain ledger, it can't go to minus values. And so that was really, really good. And then people started having gearing, so the ability to use multiples to buy and sell. And then you had leverage and all this kind of thing. So I think we're going to find, as if the prices keep dropping, people are going to have to start cashing in, otherwise they're going to have to keep financing things, and that's for a while going to get worse and worse, and that just pushes the price lower and lower. So yeah, but I think it's a compounding of things right now. We shall see. It may all suddenly bounce back or not.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's kind of almost like a bit of crypto feels a little bit like the canary in the coal mine at the moment, because I think it's not just this, it's coming, right? We're kind of seeing other similar things, the stock market, and, you know, potentially with the housing market as well. So I think it's, I mean, the short-term prognosis is not looking great for anyone, really, I don't think. But like, you know, hopefully like someone like the bad actors like can get kind of you know, cut out of this, maybe like a more responsible approach, like maybe will be more like, I mean, I don't know how much like regulation will be beneficial, like considering what normally happens with that. But some sort of, like I say, like these price drops, like for like, in, you know, everyday people, having this on your net worth is too much. It's certainly too much.
And it's something that I keep arguing, that appropriate regulation is what's needed, because otherwise you end up with regulators, they tend to put in, they over regulate, and it's usually extreme type of stuff that they do. And so I keep arguing that appropriate regulation would be really, really good. But it's interesting as well that I don't know if you follow the fear and greed index at all, which is probably a good indicator on many other things. And I just pull that up because this is the whole thing about general uncertainty about the world and society and all this kind of thing. We take a look at the current fear index. We're now in the extreme fear. It's like, you know, I'm wondering if this goes any worse. You know, does the needle it's showing start bending through to the stress loading because it's just getting so bad?
Break the graph, break the speedometer.
Exactly. You know, it's going to go a bit beyond the limit type thing. But it is interesting.
Does it mean that everyone is afraid, no one buys, everyone is trying to get rid of?
So that's where it gets interesting. You think about what the likes of Warren Buffett, who is a traditional investor with Berkshire Hathaway, and what he always used to say, what was it? It was be fearful when the market is greedy and be greedy when the market's fearful. And so you do get the thing that when the fear and greed index is high, that's usually an indicator that it might be a time to sell because everyone's worried. But if you were a contra market person, you'd say, actually, that's a great time to buy. So you really don't know. It depends which position you want to take, of go with the market or go against it.
You'll get a better price than you got like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Whether you get a better price in another 2 weeks is the billion-dollar question.
You're right. And as I keep saying to people, whether it's crypto or the stock market, whatever the price is that you're looking to buy at, if you think that's a good price to buy at, it's also what someone else thinks is a good price to sell at. And so if you think you're buying because something's about to go up in price, you're effectively buying it from someone who thinks that the price is going to go down even further. So
that's true. That's true.
So
I guess
so there is no right or wrong there.
The only thing that is right or wrong is hindsight.
Yes.
Because that's when you get to look. That's when you get to look back. And this is why I always urge caution about people who watch a YouTube crypto expert or TikTok crypto experts who are busy showing all the charts and are showing how good they are at predicting past prices. So if you watch what they do, and I've seen this on a few courses, they'll take a look at Bitcoin against the US dollar or something, and they'll say, oh, well, if you look at this, this went up here and then it went down here, and that was contained within that, and that meant that, and that meant the result was this. They always use it to demonstrate past performance. They will never say, right, if we draw it out here, then that means in a week's time it's going to be $21,000. And the few that do are sometimes right and are sometimes wrong. So I on a group the other week, when Bitcoin was about $31,000, and it was when it was channeling, it was going between about 30 and 32. And I said, I think it's going to gradually creep up, and no one's going to notice until it's above 35. Then everyone's going to pile in type thing and go up. And it very nearly did exactly that. That it was just wobbling around. It just started creeping up and creeping up. I thought, wow, I got this right. And it crept up, and then boom, and collapsed. So there you go. But as I always say, only listen to crypto experts who've made so much money out of crypto trading that they've got their own private yacht, their own private island, and their own executive jet. If they haven't got those three things, they're just speculating.
Wouldn't they be outliers?
Yeah.
They would.
And they're also the ones who make the real money like that, don't spend their time doing YouTube, how to make money in the crypto market. No, that's just the nature of it. So.
And also probably it's a good idea to listen to crypto experts who are not afraid to share information about their past mistakes and failures. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I always say beware of listening to any crypto experts who talk very openly, because they'll usually only talk about their successes. But you're right. Yeah, the ones who will talk about where they got it wrong, and more importantly, explain what their thinking was that led them to that decision and why they thought that was wrong. Because then you can learn from that. I always say that, life is too short for you to make every mistake possible. So you can learn from other people's mistakes. That allows you to make new and interesting mistakes yourself.
Yeah. And to allow people in the future to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, we'll make mistakes, definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, if you can check out any channels or anything where people will talk about the stuff they've done wrong and what they did to correct that, to prevent them doing it wrong again. That can be quite useful. Other thing to be aware of, I've not seen any recent statistics, but I know certainly in traditional share trading, it's roughly the same as well. I think 85% of people who trade lose money. And the really funny thing is that the 85% of the people always think that they are the 15% who are going to make money. So it's always the, oh yeah, everyone else loses money, I'm too smart for that. Mm-hmm. And then they lose money. Yeah. So that can happen.
I agree with that. Everyone thinks he or she is the smartest person in the world.
Yeah, whereas I'm happy to admit I'm nowhere near that clever. I try to surround myself by people who are cleverer than me, because that's a great way of learning.
You can learn from them.
Exactly. If you're the cleverest person in the room, how are you ever going to learn from them?
If you're the cleverest person, you are probably the most bored person in the room as well.
Exactly right. So that's good too. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left. I just wanted to ask Rachel, Lena, any questions or anything else you'd like to share today? Because we may close a few minutes early. Rachel, yeah. What we tend to do is, if there's nothing else to talk about, we'll just finish. But I always welcome people who they come along, particularly for the first time. If they've got any questions or comments, feel free to ask away or to share. I know we've already talked about your project earlier on, but great to further promote that. But any other final snippets or any thoughts or anything before we close off today?
No, I think I think it's going to be interesting to see how this next year goes. And I think, I still think there's still a lot of a lot of the fundamentals have not changed. So I think there's still a lot of potential. It's just kind of a little bit of a pain moment, and it could last a while. Yeah, I think just kind of keeping to build and like not looking at the prices every day. Like that's like for me, like I know I cannot be a trader. I don't have the right mindset, but you know, if maybe over the next like 6 months or so, I mean, the market's down. It's not, in theory, it's not a bad time if market goes up again to dollar cost average and all of that. So, you know, and one of our community members was like, millionaires are minted in the bear market. And I think that's actually, you don't make your money in the bull market. The decisions get made in the bear market that make you a millionaire.
You're right on that, definitely. I think that's very true. Okay, well, in that case then, sorry, Alina, go for it.
No. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with you, Rachel.
Thank you.
That's great. Oh, well, we'll finish off for the day then. I'll just finish by saying thank you both of you for joining today. An
Thank you very much.
Conversation, some different things. And you know, Rachel, maybe we'll bump into each other. I'm actually in the city this week, so
oh, nice.
A rare thing for me. I'm actually
nice. I'll keep an eye out on it's the which one is it? The Telegram group, London DeFi Telegram group that I have come through.
That's one of the very active ones indeed. You know, I'm not even sure who sent that one or who runs it, but they're doing a great job with that, which is fantastic. And I think Ajit and I sometimes banter a little bit on that because I know him from a while back as well. But yeah, great.
Awesome.
In that case,
have a great Sunday evening.
Close off. Have a great one, folks. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so a little bit different this week. Hope you enjoyed what we were talking about. If you enjoyed it, do click on the subscribe to join the channel. Click on like, make comments as well. Or even better, come along to a future session. We hold these every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. UK BST. A link to join is in the comments below. And we do welcome everyone from novices to experts alike. And we record these, as you can see, and we make them available for people to continue learning from. So I hope you enjoyed that. See you again. Have a great day.